Okay, hello. My name is Hannah Adams, and I am just going to be sharing with you um, the basically outline of what my online unit would look like if it was being taught in the classroom, which hopefully I will be able to implement this in my student teaching next semester. But what I'm going to do is just going to explain kind of the who, what, when, where, and why first of this unit, and then walk through what each day would look like and feel like in the classroom. I'm going to be referencing my notes, so I apologize if my eyes keep wandering. But that's what this video is going to look like. So my online unit is actually going to be a hybrid blended unit, and so I mirrored this model with my practicum classroom in mind, which was at Lawrence High School. And what they were doing was having small groups of students in the building in the classroom each day, while the rest of the students participated in class remotely. And then on Wednesdays, all of the students were remote learning. So that's the framework I had in mind when building this blended unit. So each day, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, we'll have students both in the classroom and participating online, whereas Wednesday, all of the students will be online. So my online unit, I'm just going to call it online unit because that's what the assignment is called, but my unit is writing introduction paragraphs and thesis statements. And so this is going to be a unit for 9th graders in the English language arts content area, and I was planning for about 50-minute class periods each day. And so it's just some key objectives for this unit. Students will be able to identify the elements of an introduction paragraph. They will be able to identify the elements of a thesis statement, and then at the end of the unit, students will be able to write their own introduction paragraph complete with a thesis statement. On my Google site, you'll be able to see those things written out, and I will be going through on a screen recording as well as me talking over this of where all of these pieces can be found. So hopefully that is working and I figured out how to do that. Skipping into Monday. So Monday will be a front-loading activity for this unit. Basically the introduction to this unit. So for the students participating in person, they will be able to work in small groups, and then students who are participating online will be working in discussion groups. And essentially we are going to be walking through a Pear Deck PowerPoint slide. And so what this is an interactive PowerPoint that I have linked on the Google site, where students will be able to log on or participate in class, and they will be able to respond to questions on there interactively. So first, I will give students just some time to brainstorm. They will be working in small groups. They're going to be able to brainstorm what they think an introduction paragraph is, what they know about it. They'll jot down some notes. We'll come together as a class, compile those notes, and then I'll give them some lecture points on that PowerPoint slide. We will do the same with the word thesis statements. They'll be working in groups, coming back, responding as a group discussion in class, and then giving some notes. And then I will also lecture on that. And then the purpose of this is just to get students familiar with the key elements of both introduction paragraphs and thesis statements. So essentially just a note-taking class. To close the class, I'll ask students to use the chat in the Zoom classroom link that we were using, or just participate in person and share something that they had learned from that class. So quick front-loading activity using a paired exercise. On Tuesday, students will begin with a short journal entry. I plan on having journal entries be a part of my regular instruction, and I think this could work well with a working Google slide show that the students have individually. So they will have already known what this is. Basically, some days there'll be prompts that are relevant to the topic we're learning about, and other times it'll just be like a free write reflection and maybe something fun to write about. So they will have access to the journal prompt on the Google slideshow. They will have 5 minutes at the beginning of class to answer that, and then we'll move on into the lesson. And for this lesson, students are going to be working in groups again. This will be different groups of people, but the same setup, either in person or in breakout rooms. And they will be identifying different key elements in different introduction paragraphs and identifying thesis statements. So they'll be looking at 3 different pieces of work. I found 3 essays that would work, 2 of them famous ones and 1 an example from a student essay that I found. Not mine, I found it online, where they're going to be working together to find the hook, the background information, and the thesis statement in those introduction paragraphs, and then find the thesis statement. So the goal of this class will be to just get students familiar with what we lectured about the day before, and then they will have a homework assignment, which is also posted, that they will be able to practice writing their own introduction paragraph. So this handout has prompts in order to do that, and then that will be due the next day. So Wednesday, students will start class with another journal entry. That prompt will be given. They will have 5 minutes to complete that. And then today will be an all online day. So students will be all on the call that we are using, whether it's WebEx or Zoom. And then they will have a handout. Basically, students will have time to work individually on that handout. And this is just, again, to give students time to reflect on the last couple of days, form thesis statements for their own, and then practice writing. So I picture that being some instruction online, time to work, and then giving them a time to meet back on the main call to close class together, just so that we know. And I would have an exit ticket for that day as well. We did this a lot in my practicum to give them work time. Thursday, the students are going to be doing what is called a lead card activity. For the students who are in person, there'll be paper cards cut out for them to choose from, a stack of nouns, and then a stack of thesis statements. And basically the students will take 2 cards at random. They're going to be pretty bizarre, but that's the point. And they are going to use those 2 cards to write an introduction paragraph. For the students who are online, there will be a link to a Quizlet that has a noun on one side and then a thesis statement on the other that they can choose from in order to write their introduction paragraph. The purpose of this activity, again, is to just give them more practice with pressure off being a random prompt, to get them just thinking more outside the box, thinking about implementing those key elements of the introduction paragraphs. And then finally, on Friday, the students will have sort of a summative assessment where they're going to be writing their own introduction paragraph and thesis statement. And so students will be given a journal prompt. That could be false. I think that the journal prompt will have been on Thursday, potentially. I'm checking right now. Okay, so Wednesday, their journal prompt is going to kind of lead into the Friday's journal prompt, which basically they're supposed to do on Wednesday, take something that they are passionate about and write why they're passionate about it. And then Friday, they're going to pick one of a couple of things that they wrote about on that Wednesday journal prompt, and they're going to jot down a few more ideas and then use that as their topic for their intro paragraph that they're going to be writing. Sorry for the confusion on that, but students will be given a rubric that you'll be able to see on my website, and they will have the first half of class to write their introduction and their thesis statement. For the second half of class, students will break into groups of 2, so in person or breakout rooms again, and they will work together for a peer review. I expect this to be one of the first peer reviews we do, and so it's going to be more of a practice of that strategy versus actually editing their paper. So I will do a brief explanation, but then they will also find a Google document that has 3 or 4 prompting questions to do the peer review that they will be asked to look for in the other person's paragraph. So hopefully that gives you like a brief explanation of what this would look like in the class. I know that this is all written out, but yeah, I figured it would just be easier to explain it all. My intention behind this is to get students just practicing writing, again, giving them the tools to essentially have the ability to write their own introduction and thesis statement. And yeah, hopefully there will also be a video going along with this that is a screen share of my website. So